Hi, welcome to the Lady T Workshop YouTube channel. Tamara here. So glad you can join me as we do a little bit of Lady T therapy. Today's craft is a wreath, so let's dive right on in. I like to do a wreath, or I'm shooting for a wreath for my door for every month, like setting a theme. I didn't do one for March, but for February, I did make this Valentine's Day pom-pom wreath. I picked up this heart-shaped frame from the Dollar Tree and just kind of made a bunch of pom-poms in different colors and put them together. So for April, I've decided to do a spring kind of themed wreath, and these are the stuff I got. So I got this welcome sign from Hobby Lobby, and we're going to paint it, or I'm going to paint it. I don't know yet which color I want to paint, the green or the white, but we'll decide that later. And then I picked up some flowers to embellish the wreath. I really like these flowers from Hobby Lobby. They always have a good supply of flowers. And then I got this burlap from Walmart, and I know that they come with, like, there's burlap ribbon to wrap around the frame, but I thought that this burlap, if I cut it up into pieces, that it would go a long way than having to buy like a whole bunch of expensive burlap ribbon. And I just would cut the ribbon size down. Anyway, so we'll test it out and see if it works. So excited to get started. Okay, so we'll dive right on into the welcome sign. I decided that I would paint the back and the front because I kind of want to try these rub-on things that I got from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to do the front and the back and test it out. So I decided to go with the white because I feel like the white will just pop out more than the green. So let's get it going. So I'm painting this with the chalk paint, the Waverly Chalk paint, and the paint is really thick. And at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint inside the letters, but as I was painting, I noticed that I got some inside, so I just figured, why not just go ahead and just paint the whole thing the white color. So the chalk paint is really thick. I know some people like to thin out their chalk paint. I just prefer to keep it the consistency that it is. I like the thick coverage of the paint. It does, however, take a bit of work to get this painted on. So once I get this backside, then I'll try to hit it with the heat gun so that it can dry real fast, so that I can do the other side of the thing. So here we go with the heat gun. With the heat gun, when you're drying, be sure to move it around quite a bit, because if you stay in one spot, the paint could bubble, or your surface could bubble. I know last time I used a heat gun on an object, last time I used a heat gun on an object to dry it fast, it was like these crochet little doily snowflakes that I had made, and it burned my snowflakes, and I was super bummed out about it. And I just wasn't, I knew I wasn't moving it fast enough. I should have just let it dry on its own, but it was taking forever. Those doilies were just taking so long to dry. Anyways, so move the heat gun around so it doesn't warp what you're painting and warp the paint, or warp your surface. So I had used a cutting mat that I was working on top of with my doilies, and when I was going over with the heat gun, it warped my my cutting mat, and so I was pretty bummed out about that. So this time I've learned my lesson. I've covered my cutting mat that I have right now on my table with freezer paper. It works really well when you want to like craft on a surface. I just bust out this freezer paper and use it as like kind of a cover to craft on top of, and it's great cleanup, real simple and easy. Just crumble it up and throw it out. So I did the back, and now I'm doing the front. Hopefully this will, I know this will turn out really nice once it's all set and dry, and then I'll test out that rub-on design and see how it looks. And hey, spoiler alert, it didn't work. I did not like it. But here I am with the little sand block to sand down a little thick, because sometimes the paint, the chalk paint can get a little thick in some area, like a little blotchy, and so I'll just sand it down, and it does really well. It doesn't like scuff up the paint job or anything like that. So here I am trying to do the rub on. I'm probably not doing it right. If any of you are watching and are cringing because I'm doing this poorly, but I thought it would be a nice touch, but I tried it out and I did not like it. So I just kind of scuffed it off with the block, and it kept the paint on real good. So it wasn't a issue. Okay, so now I have the burlap ribbon. See, I have burlap ribbon, and I have this big thing that I got from Costco, like around Christmas time when they sell all their ribbons. But I figured, you know what, this ribbon, that's too expensive. I don't want to use this ribbon for the project, so I just figured this burlap would be the best way to go. So I cut up their burlap in these like strips, kind of like ribbon roll, and made my like ribbon rolls and then I just used it to go around the frame here, the square frame. I picked up the square frame from Dollar Tree the same time I picked up the heart-shaped frame for my Valentine wreath. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the square frame. And so I kind of just played around with ideas in my head and just thought this burlap would look really cute. And a lot of people might think of burlap more of a fall thing. But for me, burlap always reminds me of spring, because during like the Easter season, my family would get together for reunions, and we would have these like sack races, and so the smell of burlap reminds me of those Easter gatherings. So burlap is not just for fall, I'd say it's year round because it's good, right? Anyway, so I'm just wrapping this around, just kind of sticking it in place and holding it in place with the hot glue gun, and this took a lot longer than I was expecting it to take. Because I have kids who come around and say, hey, Mom, I need something to drink. Hey, Mom, take me to work. So I have to stop and tend to my children, and then I can come back. So anyway, so I finished. It looks great. I love it. I love how it looks all messy. There is a spot up in the corner that looks a little like bald, but I figured that'd be a perfect spot for the flowers. So here I am with the flowers. I'm kind of taking them apart, and I like to like play around with them and put them around in place before I glue them in place. And so I just thought these are so cute. I love hydrangeas. They are beautiful. And I always love to like add them in some of my pieces of craft, my craft pieces, because they look so nice. And so now I'm gluing it in place because I like the way that it looked. And then I figured, you know what, when I put on the welcome sign, I thought it would be like cute to add some greenery by the welcome sign. But then I figured, you know what, not by the W, by the E, because then it kind of like does that balance instead of like the embellishment being all on one side. And then I took some of this buffalo checker ribbon that I have, because I thought it was a nice little touch, little look to it. Looks springy to me. And I'm making this bow because I'm like, okay, we'll add the bow somewhere. Once I figure it out, it'll look real nice. I just putting it together, and then I went to my door to figure out the placement for it. And here we go. It's on my door, and it looks amazing. I love it. I love the way it turned out. Looks so cute. I cut the ribbon a little funky at the ends there, but it looks great, and it's big, and it covers my peephole, but I don't care because I have a Ring doorbell camera. So this is how it is. It looks amazing. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful in decorating, but yeah, thank you for joining me in my craft therapy today. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you later. Bye.